Hello, everybody. I'm Willie Rose. I giggle a lot. No, I am not. You know who. Anyway, I have with me today Dr. Matthew A. Johnson, and he is the author of Bigfoot and the Xanue. As you know, I've been reading those two books, and I'm in the middle of the Xanue and learning all about Dr. Matt. Oh, looky, I see Cynthia back there. Hi,
There she
Cynthia.
is. Oh, you know what? I have to disconnect this so she can hear.
Oh,
She's saying hello. There we go.
hi, Cynthia. How are you doing in Montana?
Oh, absolutely loving it. Always do.
Oh, I love Montana. I've been there one time and loved it so much, especially up in the
Well, it's
mountains.
where my family is originally from, so I've got a lot of roots here.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we're doing a video about Matt and all that he has done, and we're going to talk about portals. You know about portals.
I do.
Do you? I'm going to just grab her real quick, Matt, if that's
Go
okay
ahead.
with
Yeah,
you.
you ask her as many questions as you want.
Cynthia is Matt's wife, by the way. Number three,
Yes.
right? That's all right. I
Yes.
had three. My last one died just before Christmas, and it's one of those things you miss them a lot. So anyway, hold on to them. Um, what?
Uh-oh. She's holding.
How many portals have you seen on the different properties?
That's my question, not yours.
I know.
Let's see. SOA. I only ever saw the one at Soya. I never saw the time travel portal there. And then on our current property, there's at least three that we are aware of.
Oh, really? Three?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Very interesting because there's a lot of talk right now about portals in the air. And there's a
Yeah,
lot
and the
of
one at
portals in.
SOA is probably the one that, in terms of activity, that I saw the most activity around.
Now, can you actually see the Genu yourself? Do they talk to you like they do Matt?
They've talked to me a couple of times, not like they do with Matt. I have heard the mind speak a couple of times. I see the shimmering images more as like if someone had one of those real thin gossamer curtains and it was blowing in the breeze. So that's kind of how I perceive them. There was an instance where I literally bumped into one of them, and it was like running into a wall of energy.
Hmm.
And I actually, without even thinking about it, stepped back and said, "Oh, excuse me," just like I would have if I'd run into a human, because it was that evident that I had run into somebody.
Oh my goodness. That would be interesting.
It was very interesting.
So has life with Matt been interesting altogether?
The trip down the rabbit hole has been exceedingly curiouser and curiouser. Yes.
Do you find it's getting more and more attention right now?
It kind of comes and goes like everything else, ebbs and flows. He had an opportunity to speak at a conference lately, and we got a lot of response from that. Whenever, of course, sometimes some of his posts get a lot of attention back, and I'm sure when his next book comes out in the fall, that we will get a surge of attention again. So,
That was one of my questions when your book coming out. Number
Third book
three.
coming out this fall/winter. Yes.
yeah, it's going to be October, November. We'll see.
That's soon.
I
Wow.
wrote most of it last summer when we were here at the lake house, and then kind of putting the finishing touches on it this summer at the lake house. And we have five hard copies out to five friends who are helping with editing, and get that all back in, clean it up, and then submit it to the self-publisher. Yeah.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. What can you give us an idea of what it's going to cover?
Well, the name of the book is Bigfoot Insanity.
Oh, love it.
Bigfoot Insanity. Do your friends think you're crazy? And I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I've been in the mental health field for 44 years. So I kind of write about my experience, but I also, define crazy, insanity, and then I take the readers up the steps or the rungs of the ladder of levels of insanity and crazy within the kingdom of Bigfootdom. And turns out everybody's crazy.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
believe that. Yeah. I seem to be the one who knows around here just because I read your book.
Yay. And thank you. Thanks for all the videos you're cranking out for book
Oh,
one
you're
and
welcome.
in
I'm
the middle
enjoying
of
it.
book two.
Well,
Yeah.
I first heard you with oh, what's his face? I can't.
Oh, I know who you're talking
Alex,
about.
Alex,
Yes, yes,
Alex Collier, of course.
yes,
And
yes.
you affected me so much. I said this has got to get out.
Yeah.
This is a humanity thing where we need to know.
Yep.
And I'm hearing so many stories about how the Xanue or Bigfoot got here. Are riding in spaceships, but they're coming through
Nope.
portals. And
Yep.
I'm hearing so many different channels of knowledge coming through. Ha,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. However, there's only one.
mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Uh-huh.
Which is what Bigfoot insanity addresses. There's a lot of people out there talking about what they think about Bigfoot and speculations and theories and guesses about how they got here, who they are. And none of those individuals have been asked by the Xanue Council of 12 to be their ambassador to the human race
Really?
and to be the spokesperson, to be the 13 to the 12, except yours truly here. So if you want to know the facts, then you watch the books on video that Willi Rose is putting together and putting online, or get a hold of my books because that's your source of truth
Mm-hmm.
for the Bigfoot forest people, the Xaneu. Not everybody else out there who's just by guess and by golly and just speculations and theories. It's not. You want the facts, and there's only one source of the facts. You go to my information. There's no other 13. There's no other ambassador. So
And there you have it.
there you have it.
Honestly.
Yep, there you have it.
It's got to be tough for you. All these years of people calling you names and, saying these things when they're doing something else and you're following all of the rules, so to speak, wanting to get it down exactly the way it should be done and authoritative.
Yeah, well, exactly the way the Xanadu Council of 12 are telling me to put it down.
All right.
When I say I'm their ambassador and their spokesperson, I mean exactly that. I mean, when you read my books, it has a whole lot of influence from Zorth, who is the head of the Xanadu Council of 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not information from me. It's not my guessing, my speculating, my theories, my guessing by golly. It's me sharing with everybody what Zorth is sharing. And who would know any better than about information about the Bigfoot Forest people, aka the Xaneu, than the head of the entire Xaneu population on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
Zorth himself. So it's not me, it's him.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
How old do you think Zorth is in our Earth years?
Well, they live about 3 times longer than we do, right? So humans can live around 70 to 100 years. So you just multiply that times three. The lifespan of the Xanu can be around 210 to 300 years. And he's in his, I don't know, 220s. So he's got some time if he lives to be 300.
Yeah, is he getting gray hair at all? I know you can see him.
Well, we actually have a picture of him hugging Cynthia and me.
Really? The real deal?
Yeah. Yes, the real deal. And there was no gray hair. Real deal.
Real deal.
Wow. Well,
See,
where is
that's,
it?
well, see, well, I show it at camp. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, unless you have questions specific for me, I'm going to slide on out.
Okay. Thank you
Okay.
for
Thank you.
sharing. Wow.
So that's the difference between me, the chosen ambassador, the 13 for the Xanue Council of 12, which is I have over 500 multiple eyewitness testimonies of people who've been out to my research areas in Camp Xanue, who have heard what I've heard, seen what I've seen, smelled what I smelled, got pictures, everything else. All these other people, they don't have that. And then I have a lot of evidence, foot casts. A lot of people have foot casts out there. I know that. But they don't have a 3 foot turd from Zorth himself. I do. Um, and then we have fingerprints and handprints, and I have truckloads and truckloads and truckloads of audio recordings of spoken language. Um, Nobody else has had 3 letter agency operatives visit their property because they have Xanue or Bigfoot Forest people on their property, but they've been to our property. We have military Black Hawk helicopters flying over our property. One of those helicopters were hovering over the garden area next to our garage, shining the spotlight down on the portal area.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, nobody
how
else
long
has
ago was
that.
that?
Oh, wait. I want to finish my point.
Okay, okay.
Nobody else out there who is blah, 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 blahing about Bigfoot, blah, blah, blah. I think they're from here. I think this. I think that. None of those people have what I have. None. Yet they try to speak with authority like they know something, but they don't. And they don't have the government up their butt like we do, landing on our property, including with UAPs. Okay, government UAPs on our property.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that. We do. So you have to ask yourself, well, if Matt and Cynthia have all that going on at their place, and just so your audience knows, we live on top of a mountain with 61 acres of forested property with lots of trails, etc. And then we're surrounded by thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of more forested property, and our next door neighbor lives a half-mile away. If we have that all going on our property and the government is there because they're trying, and I have audio recordings of them trying to establish a friendship, a relationship with the Xanue behind my back.
Oh,
We have that going on. Those other people who blah, blah, blah about Bigfoot don't have it going on. They don't know what they're talking about. They're not in any position of authority. They have not been chosen by the Xanue Council of 12 to represent them. What they have to say means absolutely nothing. If you want to know about the Bigfoot forest people in the Xanue, you read my books, you watch my videos, you watch the videos of the books that you're creating. You come to our summer camps if you want to know more. Now, back to the question about the military Black Hawk helicopter hovering over the garden area next to the garage, shining the spotlight down on the portal area. How would they even know that that is where the portal area was? Oh, that's right. Because they're monitoring us, because they're
duh.
bugging us, because they're watching our videos on YouTube, because I think they've got our house bugged. And I know that sounds paranoid, but we've talked about some things and then we've seen some responses because we talked about some things where we're kind of testing it.
Well, weren't some people coming in as kind of like spies
Some people come into
asking
camp.
questions. Yeah.
I think there have been a few people over the last 6, 7 years who were undercover. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody else has that going on. And you have to ask yourself, well, if Matt and Cynthia have that going on, and these other people don't have that going on, then who really does know the information about Bigfoot? At least the government thinks it's us. The government thinks it's us. They're not at anybody else's place.
Even the
They
new
think it's
government,
us.
right? Even the new
Huh?
government. The new government.
Well, I believe I believe the group, the three-letter agency operatives who were on the ground, and this would have been May of 20, let's see, 17, 4 years there, 2021, May of 22. This was during the Biden administration, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were on the ground trying to befriend the Bigfoot forest people at that time. I believe they kind of represented the black hats,
Mm.
the bad guys. I think they were trying to talk the Xanue into befriending them and joining them on the dark side of the force of the battle. And what's funny is the recording that I have, kind of different little audio clips. I always put out a parabolic microphone dish with a Sony digital recorder just to capture, whatever at night because you never know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a small group of people over for a night sit, only one night, May of 22. And I had the parabolic microphone dish on the woodpile because my intention was to have it on the woodpile. So when somebody comes up to the woodpile and talks with the Xanue behind the woodpile, that I might be able to record their response to the person's talking to them,
Oh.
right? So, because they vibrate at a different frequency, which makes it really hard for people to see them, but it also makes it hard for people to hear them because they're speaking at a different frequency,
Mm.
right? But for whatever reason, cameras can capture them and audio recordings can capture them. So that was my little experiment. I'm going to put the dish out, see if I can capture a response from the Xanue behind the woodpile to whoever is standing in front of the woodpile. Well, instead of getting that, what I got was this three-letter agency operative mocking us, came out of the gates going, oh, it's their house. Said date night, people already here. Oh, it's their house. And which I thought was really interesting. And then a couple minutes later, I hear this guy talking on a communication device with somebody at the other end of the communication device saying, that's what we're trying to do. I don't think we're safe. And then the guy at the other end of the device says, well, I hope you all do okay. And then a minute after that, I capture a vocal of a young Xanue, a smaller Xanue going, lots of fear. So the young one was picking up on lots of fear from those guys, the three-letter agency operatives. Well, eventually the night sit came to an end, so then it was time to go to our cots. And the cots were scattered all over the property. People can sleep wherever they want to sleep. We don't regulate where they sleep. You just pick a spot, it's yours. So, Cynthia and I always sleep on the back side of the house. And I set up the parabolic microphone dish on that side near where we were sleeping. Now, keep in mind that night when I'm recording all this, I have no idea this is going on. I'm not listening to anything. I didn't figure any of this out until I actually listened to the recording the day after, not until the day after. So we go to bed. I turn on the microphone dish. It's recording west. And so the next day when I'm listening, I pick up on they're trying to use a female human for bait. Help! Oh! And
Uh,
then shortly after that, you hear Xanue warriors say, "Watch it, it's a trap."
oh,
Okay.
wow.
And then after that, you hear the same guy who was mocking us in our house near the woodpile. You hear him say to one of the Xanue warriors, "You really don't want any friendship?" And then the Xanue warrior responds to him in a Clint Eastwood manner. Do you feel lucky, punk type of way? He responds to the guy who goes, "You really don't want any friendship? Shoot me." It's like, "Do you
Oh,
feel lucky, punk? Shoot me.
I'm
See
getting
what
chills.
see what's gonna happen. Shoot me. Go ahead."
Go ahead.
Yeah. And then the other Xanadu warrior says, "We will fight dirty."
Ooh.
And then about 10, 15 minutes after that, I get a recording about Martin, are you okay? Roll him over, check his back. He can't feel his legs. So I think Martin got a spinal cord injury over the little scuffle
Oh
or
dear.
butt kicking. So I have audio recordings like that. I have so much evidence, multiple witnesses, 500 plus people, audio recordings, foot tracks, 3-foot turds, pictures, videos, on and on and on and on, that back up the fact that I really am the 13. I really am the chosen one. I really am the ambassador, the spokesperson, and all these other people are just blowing smoke up everybody's butts because
Hmm.
they don't know who they are, what they are. They're just speculating, guessing, or just making crap up. Because if what they say contradicts what I say, guess who's right and guess who's wrong? They're wrong and Zorth is right because I only share what Zorth tells me to share. So it's not I'm right, they're wrong. It's Zorth is right, they're wrong.
I like that. I'm anxious to get to that in the book where Zorth answers the questions.
Yes.
I'm not there yet. I'm still on you
Yeah, yeah.
in your childhood.
Got to build up the point as to why I end up there in that position for him to speak
Yeah, I like that a lot, though. You can see
for
the
me.
gifts that you have and why you're able to talk to them and to see them like nobody else.
Yeah, otherwise I'm just one more person that's blah blah blahing
Hmm.
out there about
Right,
Bigfoot. But
exactly.
I'm not one more person. I am in this book, I boldly and confidently say I address the issue in Bigfoot Tim where they say there is no such thing as a Bigfoot expert. Nobody is an expert about Bigfoot. And I kind of address that by saying, well, there's no such thing as a Bigfoot expert until there's a Bigfoot expert. That would be me. And the only reason why I'm there is not because of me, it's because of them, right?
Mhm.
Choosing me to speak on their behalf. And again, I've learned a lot over 26 years, and
That's
they
a
tell me a
lot.
lot. They keep their cards close to their chest. They don't tell me everything. They just kind of piecemeal it to me a little bit at a time. And so this third book is going to be kind of a mind blower as to, the levels of craziness in Bigfoot dumb. And I'm certainly talking like I'm really crazy right now. And the truth is, I'm at the top of the heap of crazy in Bigfoot dumb.
That's the most
But
fun part to listen to or
well,
to read too.
in a good way, not a
Uh-huh.
bad way,
Yeah,
in
a
a
good
good
way.
way. Right. And all that's to lead into book number 4,
Oh,
which is going to be book number 3 coming out this fall, winter, going to be a major mind blower. book number 4 will be all that on steroids.
Wow. I'm looking
So I
forward to
don't
that.
let everything out in book number 3, but I let a lot out.
Now you have to stay well, mister.
Well, see, that's another thing.
Stop getting near death all the time.
Well, that's another thing. You know, I've I've wrestled for 26 years. Are they demonic beings? Are they the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim? Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, geez.
And I've
Yeah.
had people say, you're being used by Satan to deceive others. And in all fairness to them, I've wrestled with, am I? Am I being used? Am I being deceived? And I don't want to be used. I don't want to be deceived. So I've talked with a lot of pastors, a lot of Christian friends. I've prayed, 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 prayed. And I've had God and the Holy Spirit let me know over time that they're not demons. You're not being deceived. There's a reason why all this is going on. Just stick to the course, the game plan. Don't lose faith. Keep plugging away, which I have been.
That's hard, I
And,
know.
and then, over the years, I had a big blood clot in my leg in 2012 that turned my left leg into an elephant leg, which didn't get closely looked at until 3 years later in 2015. And the uh, vascular surgeon said I should be dead. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, you had what I would call a big ass DVT in your left leg that went from your groin to your knee. Nobody lives through that. If you came into my office with that intact, I'd tell you to get your affairs in order. Because if I operate, you're dead. If I give you medicine to dissolve it, you're dead. If it breaks up on its own, you're dead. And I'm like, is it still there? And he goes, no, it's gone. And I said, well, how's it gone? He said, the only thing I can say is a miracle from God, because nobody lives through that. I've
I
never seen
love
this
that
before.
story. I love it.
Yeah. And then the Xanue healed, took a golf ball sized tumor out of my intestinal tract, lymphatic cancer through my armpits, actually at here in Montana, probably about 6 years ago. And so then also, some of the audience has heard this and others haven't, but I was on an 8-year decline with ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, in the last 3 years going down more, and last year going way down. And 1 year ago, my wife and I were here at the lake house in Montana, and we were discussing end of life issues and getting all our ducks in a row.
Yeah,
A lot
yeah,
of with a lot of tears. And then in September of last year, 25, Jesus showed up in my hotel room. And I know this sounds crazy. And again, top of craziness right here, right? Shows up in my hotel room and heals me. And I see him. I see him. He's like standing 3 feet away from me. White robe, white prayer shawl, dark brown hair, dark brown beard, darker skin, brown eyes. And go online, if you go online to the Shroud of Turin
hmm
and you look at the AI image that lifts the image off the shroud, that's who I saw.
Oh, wow.
And a whole lot to that story. I think we did an interview on that a little while ago, you and
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
But I asked him, why you? You've always allowed me to be healed through the Xanue, and the Xanue can heal by faith in Christ.
hmm
That's how they heal. They have to have a green light from God. And we've had a lot of healings at Camp Xanue over the years. A lot of significant major healings. I said, why didn't you just let them heal me again? And he said, because I wanted to do this directly so you would see me and you would know that I did it because I want you to stop wrestling with, you know, are the Xanue demons. They heal by faith in my name, and you're on the right course, and you're with them for a reason. And I just wanted to let you know that everything's okay. Keep
Okay.
moving forward. Now, I'll tell you again, none of those other blah, blah, blah people about Bigfoot have experienced that either.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm the go-to source for everything Bigfoot.
That's an
Um, uh,
amazing story,
yeah.
honestly.
So I'm most grateful to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for healing me. I'll never forget the face every time I look at that AI image lifted off. That's
Mm,
like who I saw.
wow.
Yep. Very amazing.
I am going to go on and look at that again, the Shroud of Turin. So, I know it's an amazing story, and I'm really glad you hung through. You're
Yeah.
hanging in there.
Yeah. And I can walk. I can. I got to the point where I really couldn't walk. I had to be wheelchaired. And after the healing, I could jump and dance and run and do things I hadn't done for years. Like all of a sudden, boom, blew
Oh,
my wife out of the water, blew
well,
me out of the
I'm
water.
ready for a healing like that with my ankle, but I had a healing on my neck like that. But I don't know if it was the Janu, but I assume it was. And I woke up in the middle of the night. My neck was just hurting like crazy. I mean, it was painful, and I did not go to sleep with a painful neck. And I heard a voice say, "Go back to sleep."
Mm.
But I knew enough from working with you that it was okay. And I haven't had a problem since.
Was this
That's
at your
where it
place?
started. But it's right here. Yeah,
Yep.
where I am in Louisiana.
And that was after you came up for camp?
Yes.
Okay. I'm inclined, especially with you being told to go back to sleep, that it was them. Because that's the way they usually roll. If you wake up in the middle of the healing, they'll tell you to go back to sleep. But then they'll also help you go back to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I had no problem going back to sleep.
Yeah.
And I woke up just fine the next day.
So I know you wanted to talk about portals and orbs.
Yeah, have you ever
Let
been
me tell you
tried?
something really cool about orbs real quick,
Okay.
and then we'll get to portals. So recently we've been laying out at night, and also, in the backyard in Washington State, but also in bed at home. And suddenly I'm having these baseball to softball size orbs coming down to me while I'm laying down.
Oh,
And I'll grab them gently,
uh-huh.
and I can feel the membrane. And then I'll rotate them and look through them, and they obscure the stars, or the
Oh,
moon because, they have a membrane to them, and there's a faint red light in the middle of it. And then when I got a little more light looking through it and rotating it, and each one I could see, and then I gently let them go. Each one I can see is they have this hexagon pattern. The whole orb is the membrane is hexagons. So when I'm holding it, my hand warms up with the energy and starts tingling.
hmm.
But I just gently rotate it, look through it, and let it go. And then the next one comes down and wants me to hold
They're
it. And
letting you do it.
yeah, and then I let that one go, and then the next one comes down, and
Oh
and
my
um,
gosh.
And then I thought, okay, let's try this one-handed. So I grabbed, half the orb and I can hold it and look at it and yep, hexagons and there's that faint red light in the middle and then let it go.
Oh my goodness.
So anyway, that's something new that
It
is
is.
happening. Yeah.
Wow. And they're letting you do that.
Yeah. They're like, I guess, teaching me that I can do that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I have a second cat and she won't even let me pick her up.
yeah, that's funny. Okay. Portals.
Portals. Have you ever actually been through it, one of the portals?
Okay. Let's
Or,
start off with the Southern Oregon habituation area.
okay.
In June of 2014, Adam Davies, a British cryptozoologist who's been on a lot of TV shows traveling around the world looking for cryptozoological creatures, he came to the Southern Oregon habituation area along with a paranormal specialist from New Jersey to bust me. Okay. At that time, 12 years ago, I was reporting I got this going on, that going on, this, that, bump, 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 bump. People coming and going saying, yep, he does, bump, 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 bump. And Adam told me when he was in England, we did a Zoom call before he came over to the States, that he was going to visit a research area in North Washington State, then mine in Southern Oregon, and then another one in California. So while we were doing the Zoom call, I said, well, Adam, let me tell you how your trip's going to go. And he was like, okay. And I said, you're going to go to the Olympic project in Washington State. Derek Randall's class act guy. You're going to meet the who's who in Bigfooting, all the big kids popular club. And you're going to have good food, good drink, and laugh and tell stories but nothing's going to happen. But you're going to have a good time. And then you're going to come down to Southern Oregon, to the Southern Oregon habituation area, otherwise known as SOA, SOHA, SOA, and you're going to get your freaking mind blown. And then you're going to go down to California and you're going to not experience anything there either, but you're going to be spending all your time talking with them about what you experienced when you were at SOA in Oregon. And he's looking at me with his Zoom call going, okay, whatever. He says, I'm looking forward to meeting you. Well, I heard from other people through the Bigfoot gossip grapevine that they were coming to bust me, that there's no way on God's green earth I had that much activity going on. Nobody has that much activity going on. So they show up and our first night, and they're going to be there for 4 nights. First night base camp. We sit down in the middle of the camp. We have a no lights policy, no flashlights, no lanterns, no campfires. It's pitch dark. We're surrounded by brush and trees, so we're like in a fishbowl, and they can come up 10, 15 feet away from us and be hidden behind the brush and the trees. So we're sitting in our chairs. We're facing the 12 o'clock position on the perimeter, right? 9 o'clock is that way, 3 o'clock that way. And we just sit down, and about 30 seconds into it, from the 11 o'clock position on the perimeter and the brush and the trees, you hear this. And Adam almost falls over backwards in his chair. And he goes, didn't you hear that? And then it just went crazy. It just went crazy. The whole next couple of hours, we saw silhouettes walking
Oh my
back and
God.
forth. We saw eye glow, more vocals, and Adam and John were just freaking out.
A party.
Yeah. Night number 2, same thing. Night number 3, I'm in the chair just having a good time because they came to bust me and they're getting their minds blown, right? And so I'm sitting with my back to the Suburban, and they're on the other side of the Suburban, smoking their backwoods cigars, engaged in nervous jokes and they're avoiding this night sit area. And
Oh.
I'm like, guys, come on over here. The show's starting. They don't want anything to do with it. They're just totally freaked out.
Oh.
So then they're talking, joking, laughing, distracting themselves, and they start walking towards the 6 o'clock position on the perimeter. And all of a sudden they're yelling at me, Matt, come here. And I'm miffed. I'm like, I know you're here to bust me, and you're too scared to deal with what I don't have going on because, oh, he does have it going on. Get your butts back up here. This is what you came for. Matt, come here. No, you come here. Matt, come here now. And whatever. So I stand up and I walk down down the side of the Suburban around the corner. And I'm looking that way towards the 6 o'clock position. And there's a portal opened up.
Oh.
It's about 12 to 15 feet wide, top to bottom.
So you can see it actually. Is it
You can
round?
see the portal,
Oh.
and through the portal, you could see red sky and dark, scraggly vegetation from another world.
Whoa.
And there were these two little guardians of the portal who looked like Ewoks with glowing red eyes. And they were just kind of standing there. And Adam and John took a flashlight, turned it on, and the whole portal shut down.
Oh.
So then they walked closer to it, and then the portal opened up again. And then they turned the flashlight on, and the portal shut down. And then they walked closer again, and it opened up, flashlight down, up, down, up, down. And they were like little kids playing with a garage door opener. And they were starting to piss off the guardians. Like, let go of that garage door opener. Quit opening and closing the
Cut it
portals,
out.
right? And so they're going like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I've been up here for 8 years. I've never seen that before." Well, that's not completely true because when I was up there all that time, we're in the night sit area and we're facing the 12 o'clock position. Right? And the portal's at the 6 o'clock position behind us, right? So there's all these trees in front of us, right? At the 12 o'clock, going around 9 to 12 to 3. And every once in a while we're sitting there, at the tops of these trees, you would see this light flash on the tops of the trees for about 2, 3 seconds, and then the light would go off. Well, we would always, at that point, turn around in our chair to see who's driving up the logging road to get to our base camp. Because that's what it looked like. It looked like headlights on the tops of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
We turned around, look, nobody was there. There was no vehicle, nothing, no source of light. Well, then I put one and one together and I realized in all those years I'd been there, that portal had been opening and closing all the time. And the light would light up on the top of the trees in front of us and close, and we were totally oblivious.
Surprise.
Yes. So to make a long story short, on the fourth day, we're off the mountain because I always drove my guests around, show them different things, Crater Lake, the Redwood Forest, California coast, Hellgate jet boat excursion, dinners, meals. I'd take them off the mountain to do stuff during the day. And I picked up my youngest son at that time, Grady. He was 7 years old, and brought him back up with us for that fourth night. Now, Adam and John thought I was the worst dad on the planet because I was bringing my boy up to danger and almost guaranteed death because we were all going to die up there. And so Grady and I are sitting back in the chairs watching those two, open and close the portal. And they're acting all scared. And Grady, age 7, who had been squatching with me since age 2, So he had been up in that area for 5 years. And he leans over to me at age 7 and he whispers, Dad, they're acting like scared little girls. and and I go, Grady, now. You've been up here for a long time. This is their first time. They're just not used to all the stuff that happens up here. So you need to cut them a little bit of a break. Okay, Dad. That's from a 7-year-old. So it took me a year of problem solving to figure out how to reopen that portal. But I figured it out. I would routinely take people to the Oregon House of Mystery, or the Oregon Vortex in Gold Hill, Oregon. And we'd take the 1 hour tour and we'd be in the middle of this magnetic vortex, right? In the tour. And it really distorted perceptions and everything. It's a very cool tour to take. They have something like that on steroids in Columbia Falls, Montana, not that far away from here. I know Joe Hauser, who owns and operates that. It's a good place to visit as well. But anyway, I would take people to the Oregon Vortex, then we'd come back to camp. And I would eventually get half the people to go on the tour in the Vortex, the other half don't go, bring them back, send the ones down to the portal area who didn't go through the tour on the Oregon Vortex and they couldn't open up the portal. Call them back, send down the group that went to the Vortex, boom, the portal opens up every time. And then I stepped it up and I would take everybody to the Vortex, prove that everyone could open up the portal. Next day, we would go swimming at the Illinois River. Half of them got to go swimming. The other half had to bake to death in the 100-degree sun. And then we'd come back to camp, and that night, send the group down that went swimming. They couldn't open it up. Send the group down that cooked in the sun and didn't get to go swimming, and they could open up the portal.
Uh-huh.
Then I also figured out that this exposure, this residual energy from the Oregon vortex that everybody was bringing back only lasted for about 2 days.
Okay.
And then it wore off. So you could either wash it off sooner or it just wore off within 2 days. Next portal was up at Soya, Southern Oregon Interaction Area, which is different than the Southern Oregon Habituation Area. And that's where the exodus occurred for the Xanue. That was the whole reason why the Xanue had Patty in 1967 Bluff Creek with Patterson and Gimlin to be filmed because they needed people coming into the woods to look for them, eventually stumble across portals, and eventually figure out how to reopen a portal. So, and yours truly is the one who figured it out, but I think I had guidance from them without realizing that I had guidance from them to do that.
I
I
get it.
think, and so we were able over 2 nights with a electromagnetic pulsating device created by Steve Bachman, um, up in the mountains. We're talking like way in the middle of freaking nowhere at an elevation of 5,000 feet or greater. We were able to pull off the exodus with a portal up there, and the Xanue would come and charge themselves with the energy from the electromagnetic pulsating device. And then they were able to create a shunt and keep both ends of the portal open between their dying home world and Earth, which allowed the individuals on their dying home world who did not have the ability to manipulate the portals to come through. So within 2 nights, we got 23,542 souls through the
Wow.
portal
That's a lot.
from the dying home world. So that would be the second portal. And then at that same area, the Soya we had a group there after the Exodus, probably a month or two after the Exodus, and we're eating breakfast, and we're going to eat breakfast before we pack camp up and go home. And so we're eating breakfast in camp, and all of a sudden we hear thump, thump, thump. And we look up, and literally there's this pterodactyl flying right over the top of us. It
Oh,
looks down at us, it turns right, and it flies north. Thump, thump. And the wingspan was a good 30 plus feet.
oh,
So I mind speak and I ask Zorth, is that one of you guys? Because they can shapeshift. Is that one of you guys? No. So, well, what was that? A pterodactyl. And I'm like, well, where'd that come from? He said there was a time portal up the hill,
oh,
and it came through the time portal.
oh.
And then he said the same thing happens with the Loch Ness Monster. There's a time portal in the water
I see.
that Nessie goes through.
Okay.
And Nessie does its thing right above the water and right. And then all of a sudden they can't find Nessie because Nessie goes back through the time portal.
I didn't realize you'd have two different kinds of time portal, and one is a location portal.
There are three kinds of portals that Zorth has told me about. There are time portals, there are short portals, and there are long portals.
Oh, so short would be like local, then,
Short is from one place on Earth to another place on Earth. That's a
okay,
short portal.
and then to
Long
another planet,
portal is between planets.
more like a
Now,
Stargate would behave that we see in Stargate.
right, but that what we saw at SOA with the red sky and dark scraggly vegetation was a long portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that portal, there was no structure built around it that you see in the TV/movie series of
Yeah,
Stargate.
that's a mechanical thing that creates them.
Right. Yeah. So the portal's there, there's just no structure. Um, they are at the portal on our property where the military Black Hawk helicopter was hovering, shining the spotlight down at the portal area. We have a we have 3 nights at Camp Xanue. We host summer camps at Camp Xanue. And Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. The first 2 nights, Friday and Saturday, we do night sits near the woodpile. And the Xanue Council of 12 are behind the woodpile. They honor the fact that we're putting on the camps. And so the Xanue Council of 12 show up. In case you have newbies watching this, haven't watched videos, haven't read the books, the Xanue Council of 12 consists of 2 members from each habitable continent.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no, habitation, no trees in Antarctica, right? So they inhabit the 6 continents, and there's 2 members, which means there's 12 total. And among the 12, they have to unanimously elect the leader, which they did, which was Zorth. And so they show up at the woodpile 2 nights in a row, Friday and Saturday night. They're also there on Sunday night for portal night because we shift the group from the woodpile night sit area over to the portal area.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we have Steve Bachman's electromagnetic pulsating device, we'll turn it on and let it run. Not that that opens up the portal. It's more like a energy taco truck. So when we have guests that come through the portal, they can go over to the machine and charge up.
Ah,
And we've got some interesting pictures of various beings juicing up at the snack bar, so to speak, Steve Bachman's electromagnetic pulsating device. But the other cool thing, it doesn't happen that often, but in taking pictures of the portal, we've had these real interesting kind of round or hexagon or whatever geometric designs with some kind of code in the middle of it. And what I'm about to say is just speculation because Zorth hasn't told me. So I'm just guessing. And that's something about me. If Zorth has told me, I'll tell people and I'll say Zorth told me, and that's a fact, right? If Zorth didn't tell me, then I'm just going to say, well, right now, my guess is, my thinking is, but I'll let you know that's coming from me. So since he hasn't told me anything about these geometric designs right now, we're just speculating or guessing that that might be similar to what we have seen on the Stargate TV shows and the movies is the code of where that particular group of species coming through the portal to our property, are coming from, kind of the dial in.
Oh.
But that's a guess. That's not, Zorth hasn't told me yet. So,
I have a question about orbs.
yep.
I sent you a picture of that a friend took. She has cameras outside the house, to protect the house, and so she knows what's
Hmm.
going on. And she gets these, they look like orbs. And
Hmm.
you said the one that I showed you, you said it was an orb. And
Hmm.
she's just curious, um, how do you tell the difference between an orb and maybe a reflection from something? But then it's the way they move, I would think.
Yeah, the way they move. First of all, a lot of naysayers will say that's just a dust particle.
Yeah.
Well, you can capture dust particles going by. Problem with dust particles is depending upon the current of the movement of the airflow in the home, right?
Hmm.
It'll float from one window to the other from the heating vent, but you'll see this natural, just continuous progression of dust particles all going in the same direction, right?
Oh, yeah, true.
That's dust particles. But when this one goes from here down to there, hangs here for a minute, comes in close, goes back out, and you say land on my hand and it lands on your hand, that's not a dust particle.
No.
And
Another,
we have a video of our little cat playing and chasing an orb.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's not a dust particle. It's an orb.
I've got another friend who has a different doorway, and she also has a camera. But she sees a lot of different things in her doorway. It almost looks like there's wings on it, and clear. But I'm going, it could be a moth or something like that.
Okay, now insects
But it went
are,
through the door. One went through the door.
well, if it goes through the door, it's not an insect and it's not a
Right.
dust particle, right? And they can go through doors or the side of the house or windows, right? Because they're vibrating at a different frequency. So the walls, the door, the windows mean nothing to them. Matter of fact, here last night I was working on my, at the laptop I'm talking with you on right now. I was working on finishing up the final details of my third book about 11:30 last night. And then all of a sudden behind me, I hear this kind of boom hit the screen door and the solid door, and then I hear footsteps along the floor behind me go all the way out to the sleeping porch where Cynthia was in bed.
Oh,
And so I ended up shutting down my laptop, getting up, going to the bathroom that's around the corner there. And as I go around the corner, there's the door to the sleeping porch. and I could clearly see a Xanue standing at the door, shimmering image, red glowing eyes, big smile on his face, waving at me.
Oh,
And I wave at him, and then I hang a left into the bathroom, do my thing, and go to bed.
like it's nothing.
Like it's nothing. That's just regular, whether we're at home or here or in Belize or Hawaii or the Sheraton Hotel in Times Square, New York. They're there. Grady and I were Times Square, New York 6 years ago when he was 13, and we're going to bed. Lights are off. We're on, like, I don't know, the eighth floor or something, 10th floor. And all of a sudden I see these two huge shimmering images in our hotel room, clearly Xanue.
Mm.
And, mind speak with them. Where'd you guys come from? We're in the middle of the concrete jungle of New York City, Times Square, right?
Wow.
And their response was Central Park.
Whoa.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there are plenty of trees.
Yeah. Well, the fun doesn't stop there. Okay. We're in the trees and the trees are everywhere, but we're not in every tree.
Right.
And I asked Zorth, how many of there are you on the planet? And his response was answering my question with a question, which was, how many trees are there on the planet? So then I consulted the Google gods, and Google responded somewhere between 4 to 7 trillion trees. Now, if that's not a sign of how benevolent the Xannu are, I don't know what is, because they clearly outnumber us. And if they were malevolent, we wouldn't be here.
That's true.
But they're benevolent. They walk with God, with Jesus, with the Holy Spirit. They're full of love, and they're not here to harm us. When I was in Belize with Cynthia a couple of springs ago, we're on this dinner cruise off the coast of San Pedro Island. And we're in the front end, the bow of the boat, and it had this padded thing that we were kind of reclining on. And then the music and the dancing and the food and the drinking was going on in the back of the boat. So there were two cruises going on, right?
Yeah.
Business in the front, party in the back, right? Just like a good mullet, right? So we're up front being all romantic, taking care of business, and the boat's going up and down, up and down. And all of a sudden I realize at the bow of the boat that there were these Xannu images going up and down with the boat, all along the front end of the
Okay.
boat, several of them. So I tell Cynthia she's not really good at seeing them. So I snap some pictures and then I blow it up and I show her and she goes, "Oh, I can see him now."
Mm-hmm.
So I mind speak and I go, "Where do you guys come from? San Pedro?" Because we could see the buildings, the lights, the trees. And they go, "No." "Well, then where'd you come from?" And they said, "Down below." "What?" "Yeah, we live down below in the water."
Oh my goodness.
And I said, "Well, how do you breathe?" And their response was, "Orbs don't need to breathe." And then they said, "We live in the plant life below the surface that gets the sunlight and the nutrients to the ground, just like trees above the water. They live in the plant life below the water that get the sunlight and the nutrients." And I'm like totally blown away because I didn't know that. And like I told you earlier, they piecemeal information to me, a little bit here, a little bit there. So the next day, Cynthia and I are snorkeling off the coast of Belize, which makes snorkeling in Hawaii look like kindergarten. Snorkeling in Belize is incredible. They have the second longest barrier reef in the world. It's just incredible to snorkel there. So we're snorkeling, and I'm looking at this fan plant probably about 15 feet away. And popping out of this fan plant beneath the water comes about a softball size orb right at me, and then it zips away, and I turn my head, and there it goes. Kind of confirm what I was told the night before.
That's
And
amazing.
I'm like, okay, still learning. And then earlier this year, Cynthia and I were in Arizona for, a concert, spend some time with friends, and just get away from wet, rainy winter of Washington State. And we took we paid for a quad tour, ATV. So we're out in the desert doing this quad tour. And all of a sudden I start hearing 13, 13, mind speak, 13, the 13 is here. And I'm looking around, I don't see any trees.
Oh my goodness.
Guess what I do see?
I
We're
don't know.
taking a quad tour through a desert. No
Cactus?
tree. Yes, cacti, plural for a cactus.
Yeah.
Cacti everywhere. And they said, yeah, we're in the cacti too.
Oh
We
my
get the
goodness.
sun, we get the nutrients. Okay, so we're in the trees, and the trees are everywhere. We're in the plant life beneath the water that get the sunlight and the nutrients, and we're in the cacti. So they're pretty much everywhere that they can have access to sunlight during the day
Yeah.
and
That's
nutrients to the roots.
amazing.
And orbs don't need to breathe underwater.
It sounds like they prefer to be in the orb form and then
Well,
just,
they prefer to be in their natural state of existence, which is their beings of light. And whether they're in orb form or their natural form, they vibrate at a higher frequency. And they want us, and one of the things I'm supposed to teach people, and I say it a lot, is because everyone wants them to slow down their vibrational frequencies so I can see them in their solid form like we are. Well, they'll slow down their vibrational frequency and do that like Patty did in 1967 with Patterson and Gimlin for a reason, but they have to have a reason. They don't just walk around with a slow vibrational, position where they're solid all the time. Matter of fact, that takes a lot of energy to manage and manipulate that, which is why it's usually short-lived. And they want me to tell everybody that I'm actually here in Camp Xanue, and my books and my videos are actually here to get you to be aware of who they are, where they're from, why they're here, and to interact with them in their natural state of existence.
hmm. Okay.
They're not here to slow their vibrational frequency down so you can be lazy and see them in their natural. They're here to get you to step it up, you as in
Yeah.
everybody, not just you, but
Right.
everybody. So, yeah, so we all can step it up and be mindful of their existence, mindful of how they fit into the environment. Even the scriptures say in the Old Testament that the trees of the forest sing and clap their hands,
Oh,
right?
I love
Praising
that.
the Lord. Praising the Lord, the trees of the forest sing and clap their hands.
I love that.
Xanue, Xanue documented in the Old Testament. So, in cultures around the world have myths and legends and stories, which turn out to be true, of tree spirits, right? Cultures around the planet. Look up tree spirits. A lot, Ireland and Japan and
Mhm.
lots of different cultures around the world have, and North American Indians have stories about tree spirits.
Well, we know what that is. And there's
Yeah,
some
it's
good
them.
ones in your book too.
Yeah, and so they want us to know about them and interact with them in their natural state of existence. And, they're not here to
I got
slow down to be like us. They're
need to
here to help us,
we need
like,
to raise our
catch up
vibration to get
with
there.
them. Yeah,
Get
right.
happy.
Yeah, right. And love is the biggie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Love is definitely the biggie.
And being authentic.
Yep.
That helps. Well, this has been wonderful. Thank you
Yes,
so
it
much.
has.
And
Yeah.
I will see you in August,
Yes. You are
Camp
coming to
Xanue.
Camp Xanue.
I'm coming.
Second year in a row.
Yeah, now I did not know
Yeah.
what to expect the first time, so I was kind of
Yeah.
nervous. But
Yeah.
now I know what to expect,
Yep.
and I expect to see and feel a lot.
Well, I'd like to see more of your viewers, listeners, group members make their way up to the state of Washington with you,
Well, I've
to
got
start
one
coming to
coming and
Camp
another's
John News.
interested, and so
Good.
I'm working on that too because
Okay.
they're interested.
But everyone else watching this video, they can go to xanue.com, Xanue, Xanue, Xanue.com. And if you have a little warning pop up, oh, that's not a good website, it's fine. Ignore it. Click forward to the website. We had some trolls kind of do a little bug thing to try to steer people away from our website. Our webmaster's gone over the whole thing with a fine-tooth comb. There's no virus on our website. It's perfectly safe. So if you get a little warning, that's just a troll trying to keep you from going to our website.
They'll do
We're
anything, won't
fine.
they?
Yeah, and they can sign up there. They can order the books there, watch videos there, and sign up for camp there. So xanue.com.
All right. Well,
Okay.
see you shortly.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Oops, oops.